Hello, I'm Marilee Rosine Beasley, and I want to show you some books and some products that I've found that I think you might be interested in. First of all, I wanted to have some kind of vanilla flavored type cream that was real. And I discovered that Sprouts carries a product that's very good that I like. Also, HEB has something, and it's real cream, a vanilla. And they're all real, and I really like them a lot. Then also, this is something that I like to buy. It's a premium ginger ale. It's real ginger. It is a product from England, and what I like about it is the flavor, and it is a little bit pricey, and I think it's worth the extra money. Then when I'm done drinking the ginger ale, which I think is really great, and I buy it at Specs, although I understand it can be purchased at some other stores. I noticed one day that it has this little thing, it's hard to see, but it's a little, it looks like a tree. So what I have done is I've soaked all the label off. I've given this away, and this could be something that if you had some cuttings that you could put in here and give them to somebody, and then they could have the plant, and I actually did that one day. Another product that I really like at Specs is this. It's from the Peanut Shop, hand-cooked Virginia peanuts, lightly salted. After I got it home and tried it out, I noticed that it's actually a product of Williamsburg. Well, I go to Virginia. My sister lives in Chesapeake, which is about 25, 30 minutes from or so from Williamsburg. And I would like to say that this is really an excellent product. I have noticed that because it has this nice tight lid, that every time that I ate the peanuts, the next time I ate them, they still were just very tasty. They weren't stale. So this is a product that I picked up at my local Specs. Maybe that other stores around Houston sell this too. I just don't know, because since it's in my neighborhood, it's easy for me to get to. All right, so these are some things, these two things I got at Specs, and you may be able to buy them somewhere else. All right, now this is something that I believe I got it at Dollar Tree. Now, obviously it was $1, and it's a globe of the world. And I started looking at it one day, because I'm always looking for things that might be something educational. It is a ball that you could bounce indoors. And it has a lot of countries. Some of them are tiny, but it does have countries around the world. So this is something you could start introducing a child to, and show them that here's China. It's very large. It's yellow. Here is South America. Here's the United States. Here's Mexico, and so forth. So anyway, this is a fun way to start introducing different countries around the world. So that was something that I was very happy to find. Now, another thing that I found, this is probably a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now. I was reading in the Houston Chronicle, and there's a woman, I believe she lives in London, and she goes by Shaolin, Shaolan. She's done TED Talks, and what she did is she developed a system where you could start looking at and sort of reading and watching and looking at these things right here, which I did. I started looking at how they were set and arranged, and one year, I think it was last year, I even discovered that there was one of these calendars, the 365 days of the year, where they went through and they showed you a lot of these. So this is a book that I've been fascinated with. I haven't gotten that far into it, but I've noticed now that I've done a little bit of reading and looking. When I see some things that are in Chinese, I'm starting to recognize these symbols. So it's a fun way to look at how this is set up. So anyway, I do highly recommend this book, Chinesey. And there's also there's been another book since then. All right, so something else I want to tell everybody about is a thing that I have never done, and I'm going to do it right away. There's a company called Audible. I've seen them advertise on the internet. I was talking with a friend because I was looking for a book that I have ordered. It's called The Eyes of Darkness, and it's by Dean Koontz. It was published in 1981, and apparently the author had a scenario in the book that's somewhat similar to what's going on with our coronavirus situation. So my son ordered a book for me. Apparently all the used books are gone. Somebody's found out about this book, The Eyes of Darkness, 1981, Dean Koontz, and so now they're printing new books. So my friend and I were talking, I think it was yesterday, and she said, well, have you thought about looking at Audible? And I said, no, I never thought about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do whatever you do to sign up for the Audible program or Audible system and listen to the book that way. So anyway, I don't know anything about Audible except what I've heard about it. I think it's possibly another way to listen to books. So I'm going to investigate that. All right, so that brings me to another thought. Well, a few months ago, I found out about this author, David McCullough. He writes a lot of books that are about history. Some of them are quite lengthy. This one is called The Path Between the Seas, and it's about the creation of the Panama Canal. So I'm going to look and I'm going to investigate whether I could get this on Audible, because I think that I would really enjoy listening to it through a way that I could hear it. Now, I also had the opportunity a few months ago to hear this author, Larry Schweikart. He's written a lot of books, and this is a book that he wrote about Reagan. So I'm also going to see if possibly some of these books are available through Audible. So these are just some ideas with Audible. Now, this is another book. It's quite famous, C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. So I'm going to just see if some of those books are available through Audible. Now, I want to let you know that I often go to the lectures at the Lanier Theological Library. That's a theological library that was started by Mark Lanier, who's my Sunday school teacher. A few months ago, I was signed up to go to a lecture. The lecturer was Dr. Stephen Notley. Well, it just so happens that particular lecture I missed. I was really tired, so I decided not to go. Well, shortly after that, I discovered that Dr. Stephen Notley is from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Not only did I discover that Stephen Notley is from Tulsa, Oklahoma, he graduated from Nathan Hale High School, where I went. And in addition to that, I discovered that my brother is a friend of Dr. Notley. So anyway, to make a long story short, my brother is kind of in the doghouse because he didn't tell me about this. So I missed the live performance of Stephen Notley. Well, that's okay, because at the Lanier Theological Library, they put everything online. Now, I was over at another lecture a couple of months ago, and they were selling his DVDs from that night for, I think they were like, I don't know, $5, $2. It wasn't very much money. I got 2 copies of that DVD with the intention of sending one to my brother Richard, the one who's in the doghouse, he now lives in Manassas, Virginia. But anyway, we grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, I forgot to put it in the mail, even though I put it in an envelope. And a couple of days ago, I came across one of the DVDs. So last night, I put it in, and I thought, well, this is good. So it turns out that Dr. Stephen Notley goes, to Israel. He's doing a dig, and he is quite busy with his research with some people he's doing research with. So what I want to recommend, since now I do have the DVD, I do want to recommend that you might want to go back to the Lanier Theological Library and look at the different videos that they have available, because I believe that the library puts everything online. Well, since I'm here now with everybody at home, I don't seem to be able to go to church. I have to see everything from the internet, it's, you know, and I still don't understand any of this. Since I've been a public health nurse since 1991, I have decided that maybe it's time to go ahead and start listening to all of the other lectures that are probably online. And I have plenty of free time these days. I'm unable to sit at restaurants. The museums, I understand, are closed. The libraries are closed. So I guess this is time that I'm going to spend listening to all of the different lectures that are at the Lanier Theological Library. So anyway, these are just some suggestions that you might want to consider. So it's Lanier Theological Library. That's Lanier, Theological Library. And then it's Dean Koontz. I'm going to check on Audible, with the Audible. And the book is The Eyes of Darkness. So these are some ideas that you might want to do while you're all at home with waiting for our lives to resume. I'm staying busy doing these videos. So anyway, thank you for listening, and happy reading and listening.